gun, but he be trying to ride. And we mob tied, we find all of them niggas trying hide. We put all them on a shirt, left niggas hurt.
This might go down as one of the biggest meth indictments in the city's history, and it all started with someone getting grabbed up Lower Merion for a small-scale trap. Compared to what investigators would learn to be a multi-state drug ring, an individual ended up selling to an undercover cop. That individual sang like Whitney Houston, and brought down 5 more people, to save himself. This seems like something out of a movie, but what most movies get right is that when the feds have their targets in sight, it's pretty much goodnight. Trials are rare in the federal criminal justice system, and acquittals are even rarer. Nearly 80,000 people were defendants in federal criminal cases in fiscal 2018, but just 2% of them went to trial. The overwhelming majority, 90%, pleaded guilty instead, while the remaining 8% had their cases dismissed, according to a Pew Research Center analysis. Chase Smith was arrested in March 2021 for delivering multiple pounds of methamphetamine to an undercover Montgomery County detective in Lower Merion. The arrest of Chase Smith led investigators to the realization that Smith is a member of a large-scale methamphetamine drug ring that supplies Montgomery County and the surrounding areas. However, their reach goes even further, to include New Jersey, Maryland, and West Virginia. Chase Smith spent the next year helping the authorities build a case. The 596-page indictment filed in March of 2022 revealed that Joshua Quiles, Tyrone Baker, Jameer Winans, Shaquem Johnson, Richard Quarles Jr., and others connected to this operation were acquiring large quantities of meth for distribution. The methamphetamine is being shipped from their main plug, Ricky Evans, in Los Angeles. This investigation would include physical surveillance, search warrants, and court orders, including for phone records, pen registers, and GPS pings, and assistance from other law enforcement agencies including the United States Postal Service and Homeland Security. There has been an increase in the availability of methamphetamine over the last several years. The availability or supply of methamphetamine has risen so greatly with demand, that a pound of the drug went from approximately $20,000 to $25,000 in 2015 to approximately $4,000 in the beginning of 2021, in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Since then, methamphetamine has become increasingly more available, which has caused the price to decrease even more. Moreover, the methamphetamine that is flooding today's market is nearly pure, which has also led to an increase in methamphetamine-related overdose deaths. That this group of drug traffickers utilizes multiple communication platforms to facilitate their drug trafficking enterprise, including Instagram Direct Messenger, FaceTime, and traditionally through their cell phones. The local police became suspicious of Chase Smith because he was out Montgomery County making noise. He had a luxury apartment and he drew a lot of attention, which led local authorities to begin surveilling him and getting the Postal Inspection Unit and eventually Homeland Security. It doesn't say which, but one of the agencies had an undercover officer buy meth from him. With his arrest, he began talking, which put them on to Jameer Winans or Mir. Mir was out King of Prussia doing his thing. During a parallel investigation, the United States Postal Inspectors seized approximately 20 pounds of methamphetamine shipped from California to addresses associated with Winans, Baker, Quiles, and Quarles Jr. in the Philadelphia area. The activity through the Postal Service is what got most of this investigation's attention and would lead to the group's downfall. On November 30, 2020, postal inspectors in Los Angeles, California identified a priority mail express parcel addressed to Ricky Evans, Brookshire Avenue Unit 2, Downey, California. The parcel was mailed from Philadelphia and had a return address of John Kubach, 13 Melrose Avenue, Lansdowne, PA. The return address of 13 Melrose Avenue, Lansdowne is not an exact match of Tyrone Baker's address. But nearby 57 Melrose Avenue, Lansdowne, PA, where he is associated. Based on the criminal indicators related to their ongoing investigation and a positive canine alert, postal inspectors opened the parcel, which contained $21,000 in U.S. currency. The currency was concealed in vacuum-sealed plastic bags and hidden in the cardboard packaging of a toy truck. On January 12, 2021, postal inspectors in Los Angeles identified a priority mail express parcel addressed to Brookshire Avenue, Apt 2 Downey, California. The parcel was mailed from the Philadelphia area and had a return address of Franklin Scurry, 48 Melrose Avenue, Lansdowne, PA. Investigators knew that Franklin Scurry resides at 57 Melrose Avenue, in Lansdowne, that is the address on his Pennsylvania driver's license, and is believed to be the half-brother of Tyrone Baker. Based on the criminal indicators related to their ongoing investigation and a positive canine alert, the parcel was opened and found to contain $10,000. The currency was concealed in plastic bags and hidden inside a plastic Tonka toy. On March 11, 2021, postal inspectors intercepted a parcel after multiple indicators of criminal activity related to this investigation were observed. The parcel was mailed from Downey, California on March 10, 2021. It was addressed to Kamena Payton, 51 Melrose Avenue East, Lansdowne, PA, and had a return address of Richard E., Brookshire Avenue, apartment 101 Downey, California. Both addresses have been used during previous methamphetamine shipments between Ricky Evans and Tyrone Baker. Located inside the parcel were approximately 2 pounds of methamphetamine. On March 22, 2021, Los Angeles Division Postal Inspector Alvarez obtained video surveillance from the Downey, CA Post Office from March 10, 2021. The video showed a black male adult paying for and mailing the package. During a 3-day span from March 23 to March 25, 2021, the U.S. Postal Service seized 10 packages inbound from L.A. to the Philadelphia area. On March 26 and March 31 another package that was intercepted was opened, and investigators found 3 pounds of meth in each. We are going through all these dates to show just how busy the guys were and how much they were moving. There were so many packages being shipped that it's too many to cover. From October 2019 through December 2021, 91 packages were marked by the investigation as matching their criteria for drug packages. They matched the pattern and contained indicators of criminal activity. Of those 91 packages, 15 were actually seized and used as evidence. 12 were methamphetamine seizures and the rest was money as well as oxycodone pills. With what the feds felt was insurmountable evidence, they went ahead and got a wiretap for the cell phones and social media accounts of the crew. From January 27 to February 15, 2022, wiretaps were ordered for the organization's phones as well as some members' Instagram account. On February 6, 2022, Baker was picked up at Los Angeles International Airport by Ricky Evans. A review of the GPS pings associated with Baker's phone showed that Baker's phone traveled from Los Angeles International Airport toward West 67th Street, in Los Angeles. This address is known to be associated with Ricky Evans. Ultimately, Baker's phone pinged off a cell tower in the immediate vicinity of West 67th Street, in Los Angeles, for several hours. If we got into every piece of evidence they got from these wiretaps, it would take too long. So to condense it for y'all, we'll stick with the most relevant ones. We spoke about the trip to Cali by Baker, in the beginning of February, which lasted from the 6th to the 9th. All of this was captured by surveillance, wiretaps, and cell phone triangulation. The investigators had photos taken of Baker getting a package shortly after the UPS driver delivered it. The second package they surveilled Baker getting was on February 26. As for Jamir and his, they caught his first delivery on February 15, 2022. They would go on to track 5 of these shipments to Jamir, one of which was stolen by a porch pirate. This particular package that was stolen was intentionally sent to an apartment complex that was not associated with anyone they knew. However, when the package was stolen, it emboldened Jamir to call the apartment complex, asking questions about it. Remember, his phone is tapped at this point, and the feds can hear every call that's made. Through these phone calls, investigators learned that the package that was stolen contained 10 pounds of meth. Joshua Quiles, who was also being surveilled, was observed on several occasions picking up deliveries and putting them in his trunk. They also had Cash App receipts of transactions between him and Evans. For a pound of methamphetamine, Quiles was charged $1,250. Poppy Bull aka Shock was also caught up in this when he bought a pound on February 23, 2022. This case has so much evidence that it took us a few days to read the whole indictment. They followed them everywhere and had so much surveillance that it would be the case of the century if they end up beating these charges. Every phone call, every text message, every Instagram post, and DM, every drop-off and shipment was recorded as evidence for almost 2 years. The more evidence they gathered, the more the judges would grant the task force with more surveillance warrants. Between March 2021 and March 2022, Baker, Quiles, Winans, and Johnson Cash App sent more than $86,000 to Evans for the methamphetamine, according to investigators. The U.S. Postal Inspection Service and Homeland Security investigations also determined the organization shipped 91 packages between October 2019 and December 2021. Police seized 15 of those packages, which contained around 60 pounds of methamphetamine in all, investigators said. In all, the organization trafficked more than 800 pounds of methamphetamine as well as fentanyl, oxycodone, and marijuana in southeastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and West Virginia, according to police. Ultimately, they seized 83 pounds of crystal methamphetamine with a street value between $2.6 million and $3.7 million, 200 baggies of fentanyl, 100 oxycodone pills, 17 handguns, 8 long guns, including 1 ghost gun and 4 that were stolen, a ballistics vest, and approximately $135,000 in cash. Baker, Johnson, Quiles, Winans, and Evans are each charged with more than 100 felony counts of a corrupt organization, conspiracy, possession with intent to deliver, dealing in the proceeds of unlawful activities, criminal use of a communications facility, and other related offenses. Baker, Winans, Johnson, and Quiles were all arraigned on March 16. Baker and Winans' bail amounts were set at $3 million cash each, while Johnson and Quiles' amounts were set at $1 million cash each. Evans arrived in Montgomery County on April 3. He was arraigned with bail set at $3 million. Tyrone Baker, of East Lansdowne, Shaquem Johnson, of Philadelphia, Joshua Quiles, of King of Prussia, Jamir Winans, 21, of Exton, and Ricky Evans of Los Angeles are all innocent until proven guilty. This is a testament to what the illusion of fast money produces. No amount of money is worth your freedom, no matter how much of it you have. When it's all said and done, we just hope they stand tall and don't fold. It's no switching up and telling, once you've had your fun and your run is over. You have to stand on the decisions you make. Decisions like this will cost you time, which is ultimately more important than money. Now all they have is time, with everything being seized and all the money being gone. This is also a reminder that no matter how good things look on Instagram, all that glitters isn't gold. You just never know what someone has going on behind those flashy posts. The whole gang got indicted because someone told. Be smart and stay dangerous.
Take a look at this. It is the result of a massive bust, including more than 80 pounds of methamphetamine. Authorities in Montgomery and Delaware County say the drugs were part of a major trafficking ring that started back in 2019. Police say the drugs were made in super labs in Mexico, then transported to Los Angeles before making their way to southeast Pennsylvania. The bust also resulted in the seizure of 200 bags of fentanyl, 25 firearms, and more than $135,000 in cash. Police say was delivered via the United States Postal Service, FedEx, and UPS. 5 high-level men were arrested after one person from the crew sold drugs to an undercover officer. The estimated street value of the drugs is between $2.6 and $3.7 million.
In other news today, police are investigating a wild scene in West Philadelphia involving a shooting standoff and a rooftop arrest. It all started along the 6300 block of Callow Hill Street with a report of shots fired just after 10 this morning. When officers responded, they spotted 2 men running away. Another person was barricaded inside a home, but they soon discovered it was actually a 19-year-old with a gunshot wound to the shoulder inside of that home. The teen was taken to the hospital where he is recovering. Those 2 men seen running away were caught a short time later hiding on a roof. Police say they also found a gun.
On the rooftop, tell them get back for they foot soldier. Buddy got cooked, they hit him up with all boulders. If I'm telling Bud to spot him, then I got him. I got him. I got it. If I can't come in with the ladder, see him rolling through the smoke, he a ghost, it don't matter. Don't be listening to them niggas, they rat cat, they some actors. I'm throwing beats for boy behind my brother, knew it's static. Dropping fours, Springbok blocks, whoever out there, we attack.
When you look at this picture, you see the embodiment of the problem we have in this city. Poor teenagers, living in extreme poverty, who have lost any form of normal morality and instead have fully embraced the street. Dirty young bulls who don't care about the larger society, or their impact on it. If you try to sympathize and get in your feelings on the street, you will be killed. And this fact is not lost on the crash-outs and wreck chasers. It's more of a game of, get you before you get me. But, of course, it's not a game, it's real life. As we will lay out in this video, the dumb shit in Philly has gotten to a point where people literally don't leave their house for fear of violence. This is part 2 of 3 of a look at YBC and their ongoing beef against an entire city. As you'll see, they have been charged with murders from West Philly to North Philly to Port Richmond. Nasir Marks was shot on Tuesday, May 25, 2021. At 7:29 p.m., Philadelphia police officers responded to the 3900 block of Poplar Street and found Nasir suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to his body. Police placed Nasir in their patrol vehicle and transported him to Penn Presbyterian Medical Center, where he would later pass away. Nasir Marks was 18 years old. He resided on North 76th Street in Philadelphia. Nasir Marks, of Overbrook Park, spent the evening practicing a speech on diversity in America, his senior project, in front of his mother and brother, his family said. He put on a hoodie and got on the bus to visit his girlfriend, texting her at 7:15 p.m. that he'd arrived. 15 minutes later, police were called to the 3900 block of Poplar Street and found Marks with multiple gunshot wounds. His father, Jermaine Thurman, said his son had stepped into gang territory, where groups of young men on both sides of Girard Avenue have traded gunfire. About 30 minutes later at 8:05 p.m. police officers responded to the 2500 block of Sydenham Street and discovered Kanye Pittman suffering from several gunshot wounds. Police placed Kanye in their patrol vehicle and rushed him to Temple University Hospital. Despite efforts by the hospital's staff to save his life, Kanye was pronounced. Kanye Pittman was 15 years old. He resided on 17th Street in Philadelphia. The teen had been standing on a corner 3 blocks from home that night when multiple gunmen approached through a trash-filled, overgrown lot, firing nearly 30 shots. The next day, 24 chalk circles marked the patches of pavement where police recovered ballistic evidence. 15-year-old Kanye Pittman was a freshman at Benjamin Franklin High School.
I just want everybody to know my son's name. His name is Nasir Marks. He's not just some 18-year-old black male that was shot. His name is Nasir Marks.
Jermaine Thurman spoke with us at North 39th and Poplar Street in Mantua. That's where his son Nasir was shot and killed Tuesday.
He got into no trouble, nothing. All this is way out of left field.
Thurman came to the scene today trying to make sense of what happened. He says the last time he saw Nasir was when he was practicing his senior speech Tuesday night. Nasir then went to see his girlfriend in Mantua, which was about 15 minutes away.
Maybe an hour later, we get a call from Presbyterian Hospital asking, are we the parents of Nasir Marks?
All right. And what's going to be coming up on your screen is the video of the second incident that occurred just 30 minutes later in North Philadelphia, a number of miles away. And In this video, there's our suspect vehicle. The suspects are going to be jumping out of the car, and you're going to see momentarily they're going to start firing shots at our victim. On September the 23rd, homicide investigators got 2 arrest warrants from this incident. Both of them are 17 years old. The one on the left is Zaire Crawford. He was taken into custody. I'll talk about that in a second. And the second suspect was identified as Samaj Nolan. And they were charged with the 2 homicides, one being for the homicide on Poplar Street in 16th District, 3900 block of Poplar Street, and the other one for the incident that occurred on North Sydenham Street, on the 2500 block of North Sydenham Street. The following day, the day after we got the arrest warrant, on the 24th, homicide investigators, along with our SWAT officers, went to Mr. Crawford's residence on the 2400 block of Sharswood Street, and we arrested Mr. Crawford. We recovered a 9mm Glock. There was an extended clip that was also recovered from that location. We attempted to make an arrest that same time, that same day, at Mr. Nolan's residence. We actually had contact with Mr. Nolan by phone. He knows he's wanted, but he refused to call to surrender himself. We're actively searching for Mr. Nolan.
Jack, I can tell you at least 32 bullets fired on this residential street behind me, and likely more shell casings out there. I'm going to step out of the way so you can take a look at this crime scene. Crime scene investigators have been out here for the better part of the hour, going over this whole block, marking evidence on the ground, bullets in nearby houses, and possibly more in the brush area across the street. And police say this 15-year-old boy who was killed may have been targeted. Dead.
He was shot multiple times. He was shot in the head, the neck, the chest, the torso, and arm.
At least 32 bullet casings were found on Sydenham Road tonight. No guns recovered, but police say the shooter or shooters left behind a laser sight gun attachment. The aiming device lit up in the night.
We believe he may have been the intended target since he was hit so many times.
The purpose of this channel is to highlight the stories that go on the streets of Philadelphia. If we were to tell a street tale of the 90s or early 2000s, it would most likely involve some sort of pursuit of money. Whether it be trapping or scamming, car theft rings or burglars, and of course death or prison. Because no matter the era, that's where the streets always lead. Sadly, the stories of the streets of Philly from 2020 on are just drills, get back, wreck chasing, and just all around dumb shit. Drill music is a direct reflection of that. Groups like YBC and the Clappers don't care about lyrics or making a song sound good. They want to taunt their ops and make a mockery of the deaths they have caused. They want to troll and look good for the socials. The mindset of most of the streets has shifted to attention-seeking. 16-year-old Kalen Johnson was one of 2 teenagers killed in a triple shooting in West Philadelphia on Wednesday, July 21, 2021. The boy's Latin charter school student was a standout athlete. KJ or K3 was truly an innocent in this situation. The same can't be said for the rest of the people in the car that day. Tommy, or Snipe, was also not the intended target. He simply was at the wrong place at the wrong time. He is also friends with Young Liv, which is what started the drama between the Clappers and YBC.
Bindo, on Snipe. On my dead homie, when we did that video at the bus stop, you seen me shooting that gun.
Snipe popped off from time to time and backed the Clappers' plays, which is why we can't say he is truly an innocent. Dame and Reek, 2-0 to the 4 members, were also in the car. Dame was allegedly the intended target.
Developing right now, 2 teens were killed and a third was hurt in a triple shooting this afternoon on the 200 block of North 56th Street in West Philadelphia. Police say the teens who were killed were both 15. Both males were shot multiple times in the torso, and a 16-year-old was shot once in the shoulder. He is in stable condition.
In other news tonight, teenagers with bright futures shot in broad daylight in West Philadelphia. Today, we're learning more about the 2 students who were killed while they were on their way to to play basketball.
Beyond of 16-year-old Kaylin Jihad Johnson, who went by KJ, a boys Latin student, did not want her face shown, but wanted to be clear, KJ will not be a number. KJ was killed around noon yesterday at 56th and Vine. Shots were fired into his brand new car.
KJ just got his driver's license, and his mom rewarded him for being a good kid and being respectful, and she got him a car. He used his car to go to basketball practice.
2 additional boys Latin students were in the car. One of them, a 16-year-old, was injured by gunfire. 18-year-old Tommy Frazier was also in the vehicle and was killed by gunfire. Frazier was part of the Mastery, Harrity, Hardy High, and Gratz High School communities, according to an email that was sent to faculty.
I got caught up at the light. K3 just had the full of flame, had hit him up. They yumbo from the back block trying to run, they did he bad. Sig, I did the worst way, that's what he hit him in his dad. They keep on telling niggas been a 9, his sister got 10.
Did he bad? Sig, I did the worst way, that's what he hit him in his dad. They keep on telling niggas been a 9, his sister got 10.
Mosky hit a shooter, he already hit a few. Curry hit a point, just call a play, we all got these like a high smoke buddy. I smoke little snipe. They only down the block, so I'ma do it on the bike. Ass to sleep like what's the bet? Mr. Trolley, all that trolling that you doing, get you left. And you ain't Undertaker, you ain't coming back from this death.
He tried to run me on his ass and switches hit the hardest. Some chasers, they gon' chase his ass. He was out there loafing on that block, his face arranged the fast. Ring around the rosy, made the mad pie. Baby snipe too dangerous, the low one put a chest shot. Run him down to make sure he stood over, hit the jackpot.
So many strains in the air, this shit different. I heard they caught them niggas at the light and started flicking. There's so many trophies on the shelf. 5 like bro, pass the weed on one snipe. You gotta light K3 up, you can't forget him. We don't figure, get the itch, 1K and wait, go ahead and blitz. That kill confirmed positive, they hit him in his shit. They could've been most wanted, but he vicious on them hit. Stuck. We ain't gonna talk about them other 3, they should've ducked. Our chop baby creep me.
Snipe, when you could go up, then me time me. How about that dad like that Millie jump all on his body?
And I'm smoking on the ops. Y'all knew y'all was getting followed, why the fuck y'all stop? They scored on K3, they hit him for the shot clock. This broke ass guy drinking lean, he wasn't even sipping wine. 12 really on the run, the law ran inside my spot.
Arshad Curry, or Most Wanted, was charged in April 2022 with 2 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder in connection with the July 21, 2021 shooting in which police said he fired into a stopped car, killing Tommy Frazier, 18, and Kaylin Jihad Johnson, 16, and wounding another 16-year-old. Curry also faces a host of weapons charges. Investigators believe that 2 teenage friends, who were killed in broad daylight near the intersection of 56th and Vine Streets, were on their way to basketball practice and were not the intended targets. The triple shooting rocked West Philadelphia, where Frazier and Johnson grew up. Curry took his nickname, DePoint, from Sid Sessoms or Big 39, who used to call himself the point guard. Curry was arrested at the scene of Sid's murder as we discussed in Part 1. In January of 2022, F5 or Rahais Sherman was arrested on gun charges. As he sat in jail awaiting bail, investigators tied him to the Snipe and KJ murders. Detectives tied Curry and Sherman to the shootings after interviewing a witness who said he was an associate of a man with the nickname Most Wanted, who police believe is Curry. The witness said Curry told him he shot the victims, but they were not his intended target. According to court papers, investigators believe Curry and Sherman, driving a blue minivan owned by F5's mother, followed the teens from school. When the victim's car was stopped at a red light, police said, Curry jumped out and fired at the driver's side at least 17 times, fatally striking Johnson and Frazier, and injuring another 16-year-old. Sherman and Curry are being held without bail at Kern Fromhold Correctional Facility. YBC gave out a lot of smoke in 2021. But as you'll see in Part 3, Karma has no picks and always has a way of making herself known and feared. In 2022, YBC has taken numerous losses and lost a lot as well. Whoever laughs now, will most likely cry later.
Last time they been through the 9, they nigga already flagged. Last time they been through the mine, my nigga shot back. Last time they been through the 9, they nigga already flagged. Last time they been